And here's yet another way the police can use your silence against you. You hear people say never speak to the police. You hear me say it. But you need to know how to properly remain silent, or else that silence will be used against you in court. And yes, there is a legally correct way to remain silent. There's a couple U.S. Supreme Court cases that deal with this issue, and in this video I'll tell you about one of those. This case, the Thompson case, involves an individual who was in custody, was in a police station, and was being interrogated after being read their Miranda rights. The reason he was being interrogated after having been read his Miranda rights is because he said nothing. He chose to remain silent. Now, like I told you in the last video, you can't just remain silent. You have to invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. That means you have to put the police on notice that you are choosing to exercise your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. In Tompkins, he remained silent. He didn't say anything, and they questioned him for about 3 hours. And he just remained silent that entire 3-hour period. He mumbled things every once in a while, but it was unclear what he was saying. It wasn't until the end of that 3-hour interrogation that he spoke, and he answered 3 questions. Those 3 questions were, did he believe in God? Did he pray to God? And did he pray that God would forgive him for shooting the victim? And he answered yes to all 3 of those questions. The prosecutor used his answer to those questions in court in order to convict him. But the point of this case is not Tompkins, it's you. You may think, I won't commit any criminal acts, so I don't have to worry about this. But the truth of the matter is that Tompkins was subject to the interrogation technique that I've talked about before, the Reed technique, and you could be too. The Reed technique is designed to psychologically beat a confession out of you. And with the tens of thousands wrongful convictions in the United States, about 30% of those involved false confessions. Those confessions were a result of the Reed technique. In this case, the United States Supreme Court decided that the Fifth Amendment doesn't protect you, and you don't get the protections of Miranda if you simply remain silent after having been read your Miranda rights. In other words, remaining silent after having been read your Miranda rights doesn't give you the protection of the Fifth Amendment or Miranda. You have to verbally say that you don't want to answer questions and that you want a lawyer. And even if you properly invoke your right to remain silent, you still need to let them know that you don't want any questioning to occur until your lawyer is present. That way, they have to cut off questioning. Otherwise, they can still talk to you and use that Reed technique on you to try to get you to talk, even though you're going to remain silent. So remember to verbally invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and your Sixth Amendment right to an attorney if a police officer ever wants to talk to you. That's what I would do.